say that. You can't say that to me.
Okay.
Come on, come there.
I mean, that's like the joke. Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
I don't want it to be a joke.
I think that should be. I'm Matt.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Taylor.
I'm Alexandra.
I'm Burke. Matt and I are the creator, executive producers, and Taylor is Judy Robinson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
So, what made you want to redo Lost in Space again for Netflix?
It's your turn.
All right.
You're on.
When Burke and I first got the opportunity to do Lost in Space, we jumped to it because it's one of those titles that says everything. I mean, it's Irwin Allen's genius was to take this very simple idea that becomes universal. It's a story that actually can be told from Swiss Family Robinson in the 1800s to now to 100 years from now. So we saw it as an opportunity to, we love science fiction, we're huge science fiction fans, that this is a blank canvas to have tell all new stories that's based in this family going through this incredible, challenging experience together. So the universality of the story is what really drew us to it.
There's this sort of really intense wish fulfillment of being lost in space with your family that's both scary and the kind of thing that you say, what would I do? And I think that it's just immediately the very idea of it draws you in and you wonder and want to like see these adventures and these experiences and like go through the adventure with the Robinson family.
And in terms of like continuity, is this like, will we see any recreations of old stories, or is this just entirely a new thing?
It's an entirely new, like, it's a reboot.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Easter eggs to the original show, and if you're like a super Lost in Space fan, which I think there's some people are, which is not that many but a few, we do sort of like, the first 5 or 6 episodes of the original Lost in Space were in black and white, and they're beloved by like the hardcore fans, and they actually have a tone that's a little bit different than the sort of campy, brightly colored ones that are also fun but are more fun, like are remembered by most. The tone of the original 6 is actually they do crash land on just one planet and are like pushed by like crazy weather and monsters to like survive.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were first working with the material and we watched those first few, we were like, oh wait, this is a way in that I think that original people who love the show from the 60s will recognize that we draw upon actually the first 5 or 6 episodes in like Easter egg ways.
What was, not to nag the old show, but just since there's such a difference in, values in our country now that there weren't then, what was something when you were taking a look at the original source material, you're like, okay, no, we can't have that, or we have to change this, or anything, or vice versa, was there something that you absolutely were like, no, we have to keep this and bring it to our new iteration of this, or bring it to the reboot?
Well, I probably the biggest thing we did was obviously some of the female characters needed an update, like Judy Robinson, for example.
Who I think was like doing laundry in the original one, and
It was like, Maureen, make me a sandwich, or like stuff like that. But the women are very much, I mean, I don't even want to say everybody's equal, but it's not about equality in the sense of should there be equality, should the woman be the same roles as the men. It's like that just is the way that it is. It's not a question, it's not a she shouldn't be or he shouldn't be, it's just the standard, which hopefully is something that we get to in the future. I think it will be, but it's great that we see that, and hopefully people from watching that will think, okay, this is the norm, we should be acting this way. I don't know, maybe that's a big hope. But.
That is a hope. And then like on a more sort of nerdy side, it's like, what is the promise of the show to be like lost in a spectacular planet? Obviously the production value of what was one of the big things that Netflix and Legendary and the budget allowed us to bring to the table was a true cinematic version of being lost in space. We were able to sort of, with production design and shooting on location, but using a lot of state-of-the-art digital effects, make the promise of the Lost in Space show. You don't have to use your imagination and see like a foam rubber monster in our show. And then if you've watched deeper into the show, it looks amazing. Like some of the action set pieces are like mind-blowing.
Well, I have to say, with even just watching the trailer, the cinematography, it's gorgeous. So even if someone is just like, oh, I like space stuff, I don't know much about Lost in Space, I think that will still capture an audience who's not familiar with it to come and watch it because it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, the only thing that we talked about that we wanted to be as good as was Game of Thrones. It was Game of Thrones and us. We wanted it to be in the same, and we actually got the special effects coordinator from Game of Thrones.
Really?
Give a shout out to Jabbar Raisani.
Jabbar Raisani is our visual effects supervisor. And he's like the fifth Beatle.
I always feel like he should be here because a lot of what people like about the show, he did it.
He really is the MVP. He's
He turned out to be a pretty
incredible.
good director too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he also directed some scenes throughout the episodes.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm always curious to ask this of people who've working with Netflix or working with any kind of streaming services. It's still fairly newish to our world. What's your favorite thing about working for a company like Netflix?
I don't even know
creatively,
where
I
to
feel
start.
like there's a lot.
Creatively, they have been such amazing partners with us. When Burke and I first pitched the show to them, they got it immediately. They were excited. They were excited as fans of what we were trying to do, and they immediately knew what this new vision was. That it was really based on loving this family, but also having this incredible scale at the same time. And I mean, everybody wants to work for Netflix for a reason, is because they are tremendous creative partners, and they gave us enough rope to either hang ourselves or make what you saw. And everyone has just been really supportive and very proud and happy of us.
And they've sort of invented this new way to watch a show, which is like the 10-hour movie or 8-hour movie, depending on the show, and which they encourage to have it to have a 3-act structure. Like Act 1 will be the first 3 episodes, Act 2 will be the middle 5. Like that is something that you would have to explain to a lot of other networks, so they would either be resistant. But for Netflix, that's actually what you're doing. And Matt and I have a film background, and being able to build that kind of dramatic experience at this scale is really unprecedented. It's been an incredible creative opportunity, and I don't think anybody besides, I'm sure the other streaming services are talking about it, but no other venue really allows for that.
They also give us a lot of money.
I guess that helps, right?
Which is all on the screen. Because part of this was when we were like, if we're going to do this show, we need to do it right. We don't want it to look cheap. And they bought into having this look like Game of Thrones level visual effects. So thank you to Netflix for paying the bill.
And one thing is that I think when a lot of people think Netflix, they think less restrictions in terms of content. So was there ever an idea of doing a dark and gritty version of this, or was it always going to be that family-friendly kind of vibe to it?
It was. The reason people like Lost in Space is because you want to be a member of the Robinson family.
Yeah.
And it was very important to us that if you're the age of Will Robinson, you should be able to watch Lost in Space. And they embraced that. They thought that this was an opportunity, and actually something that was missing right now, which is what is the show that you can watch if you're a kid that's appropriate, but then also if you're the parents, if you're any age, that you will get something out of it. And that's something that hopefully we've achieved. But this is true. We approach this as if it was a 4-quadrant big summer movie like Jurassic Park. That's something that's for everyone. And Netflix wanted that, and hopefully that's what we achieved.
On that note,
I was like, she's standing behind me.